Let me stop it. I can stop. Starting into like this weird thing. We are live. Yes.
Okay. Welcome everyone to week 2 live streamed office hours. So this week we will cover a bit of a summary of the week's materials, ideation, which is a short contraction of idea generation or brainstorming. And we'll go into some more in-depth aspects of ideation, brainstorming, as well as in some of the discussion forum highlights, some questions that you might have on the materials, and the assignment for the week as well. So first of all, the objectives of the week, the summary of the week. So we covered the value of creative constraints. So this might be a little bit counterintuitive because a lot of people hear that you should think outside the box. And what we mentioned in this week is that there's value to actually having a bit of a box when you start brainstorming. And what we mean by that is you want to have some constraints around which to start your brainstorming, whether that's your interest areas or functional expertise that you might have, or other areas that help you start where to begin your brainstorming, where to begin your idea generation. Otherwise, you're just starting from a blank sheet of paper, and that can be a really difficult place to start. So you want to start with some creative constraints within which to be able to start your brainstorming. Next, we had some creative exercises to be able to get started, and we'll refer back to those a little bit later because we loved reading through those on the discussion forum. I'll have someone go through some of those.
Definitely.
And then had guided brainstorming, so going through the different steps to be able to do the brainstorming, starting with your interest areas, looking at needs and gaps, finding those problem statements to then be able to come up with ideas, and then filtering those ideas based on fit and potential. So saying what areas or what makes it a good fit for you, the skills and passions, as well as then what ideas have potential, what makes it something that would have a big market need that people would be willing to pay for, what has potential in the marketplace. And ideally, you want to find ideas that fit with what you're excited about, then also have potential in the marketplace. All right, so that's essentially what we covered this week in ideation. So a few things we wanted to cover in a little bit further detail on this. I know this week was covering the idea, but we do want to touch back on the fact that while the idea is the foundation of your company, it's not the most important part of the company. Your product is not the company, and your idea is not the company. And the reason we're really emphasizing fit is that being passionate about your idea and having a solid team and excitement is far more important than the idea itself, because being able to execute on and commercialize your idea is the most important part. So an example I sometimes like to give is that when Foursquare made it big, do you remember Foursquare where you checked into to the different locations? And I don't know if I'm dating myself with this example, but there used to be this app where you'd go and check into different locations, and you could become mayor of a location if you checked in there enough times. When that company hit it big and had like $1 billion valuation, there were 27 other companies doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. It started within months, before and after. So it wasn't the idea itself of this check-in app that made it big for them. It was the combination of everything from their user interface, the stickiness, the virality, how they commercialized it, got people interested, everything that did it for them. And so that's something to keep in mind as you are doing this ideation stage and coming up with ideas, that while it is important to find something that you're excited about, it's way more about the integration of the entirety of your business model. So another thing to keep in mind as you're coming up with these ideas is that even if there are other companies that are doing it, or even if it's something that you think that perhaps big companies might be able to do it, it's not a reason that you shouldn't pursue it. So a lot of times people will say, oh, well, this is something that Google or Yelp or Facebook would find so easy to be able to do. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of times those companies won't pursue ideas. Like think of WhatsApp with Facebook. it didn't make sense for Facebook to actually develop that themselves.
Yeah,
Rather, what a
exactly.
lot of those bigger companies do is wait for a smaller startup to do it and to do it well and see how that plays out and then acquire them.
Yeah.
So while it makes a lot of sense for them to have a company that does some of these things, it doesn't always make sense for them to be able to acquire it. So keep that in mind as you're coming up with these ideas, that try not to be scared off by whether or not big companies might be interested in it. In fact, that can be a great thing if a big company would be interested in it, because that means that, hey, you could be the next WhatsApp. Let's see here. Other things we want them to keep in mind as they're coming up with ideas?
If I could add on to that, I think that's a perfect example. The Facebook WhatsApp example. In fact, most people don't know that Lyft was the first app in the market before Uber, and many people don't know that what Uber did was they are able to pinpoint a few things which were not in that application, which they're really able to harp on, and that is why Uber is doing so well right now. I think, I definitely agree with Lori on this. There's a common misconception. It happens all the time, where people feel as though, what's preventing a large company from doing what we're doing? And I feel as though the best way to target that issue is to focus on this one thing, this one little thing in your niche market that a big company is not being able to do. Because think about it, they're doing so many different things at once. They're probably not being able to do one thing really well. And if you can harp on that, then just as Lori said, like you can get acquired. And I think that's definitely a really good example. And one more thing which is preventing large companies from doing what you're doing is that sometimes people don't realize that it takes a lot of resources and management skills to switch over from what a large company's already been doing for a long period of time and focus on what your startup is doing. It takes a lot of time and effort. You'd think that it's just easy for Facebook or Google to just suddenly just snap and be like, oh, I like what you're doing, and I'm just going to do that. It's a harder process than that. So I think that it's definitely important to know that big companies are not very scary. Yeah.
And that's absolutely why the ideation process really focuses on needs and gaps. Because for exactly the example that you gave of Uber and Lyft, while a lot of these companies are doing something really well and serving their customers really well, they can't serve all customers really well. And so some of those customers that are either being underserved or not served at all, there's still an opening for those. And so that's how the brainstorming process that we've identified allows you to be able to serve those other customers even better. And there's a huge opportunity to be able to do that and to really pinpoint those needs better. And then the rest of the process that we'll go through in the coming weeks will really focus on how to be able to further optimize things for those customers in the same way that, say, Foursquare and Uber and all these amazingly successful companies have done, without trying to be everything to everyone.
True.
Great. So shall we jump into some of the fun things from the discussion forum?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. So we had a couple of really fun exercises to get the creative juices flowing. I love these couple of exercises. So there was the 2 words exercise and the bad idea, good exercise. So sorry, I'm going to pass the computer over here to someone. So, yep, you saw the launch sticker on my computer there. Yeah.
Oh, is it on the screen? Yeah.
Yay.
I think I've personally done this challenge too, and I think it's very interesting. It's very innovative, and it really, I don't know, sometimes it gets really funny. So just to recap what you guys have done this time out, you guys have you've been given 2 words that you're randomly going to pick on a book from random pages, and you were asked to start a company with that, or come up with a good idea for that. And I honestly, I read through these and I'm like, wow, these should be real companies. Really, I think like some of your ideas are amazing. One of them was the stress plus elevator one. It's the first one on the discussion forum. It really caught my eye. I think it was an interesting idea of how you're integrating 2 very important things together. There were a lot of amazing ones. So I feel as though what this exercise does is it really teaches you, it really gives you a lot of confidence to think that if I can start a company or if I can come up with an amazing idea from 2 random words somewhere in a book, then why can't I come up with an incredible idea, not by looking at 2 random words, but actually brainstorming. And this week really focused on some really key areas on how you brainstorm and how you think of new things, and how you use your fit potential graphs. And I think that's really helpful. I think maybe I could tell from reading through the discussion forum that a lot of you actually seriously looked through the fit potential graphs before writing these things. I know some of you had a lot of fun and you just randomly wrote a few things, which are cool. But I'm sure a lot of you looked through the fit potential graphs, and I think that's awesome. Yeah.
So I remember one of the first times that I did the 2 words, I had people at launch just write down a word coming into class, and then as teams, they would each pick out a word and come together, and they'd have to come up with a company. And one of them that I thought was so innovative and fun was Giraffe X-ray.
Giraffe X-ray.
And the company that they came up with was that since giraffes are so tall and yet able to have their heads and brains so amazingly intact and brilliant and everything, there's so much that we can learn from them through doing X-rays to be able to bring back to human brains.
Wow.
That's what the company would be.
That
was Giraffe X-ray.
And Giraffe X-ray.
Yep, that was their company. Giraffe X-ray
was
to learn about the giraffe brain for the purposes of humans, and that has stuck out in my mind since from these.
Giraffe X-ray. That's.
So I feel like I need to talk to a neurologist about that one. So any good ones that we had from the forum here to.
Yeah, I saw a kind of an interesting religious undertone one. It was called a Have Cause. I know a lot of people actually commented on it, saying it was a super great idea and it was really cool. I really liked how you're so what the idea was. Just for those who've not seen it, is that you're taking like-minded people in religious and social groups and organizations, and you're kind of connecting them together to form a better organization where where it can be a really good communication hub for networking and getting to know other people who have very similar interests. And and I don't know, I just found that interesting. I think that seriously, this could actually be a thing. This could actually be a thing where. You see a lot these days that you're bringing together people who have like-minded thought processes and all of these things, and that was one of the really cool companies.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So anything else from the forum that we want to highlight?
Yeah. So there was one on the bad ideas as well. In fact, I found this one kind of interesting. So one bad idea was to send a dog to the moon. That's I don't know. You guys must have looked at a fit potential graph to look. Well, I think that's.
I think that person is a cat lover.
Yeah, probably. They're seriously mean undertones for dogs.
Wait, so how is this turned into a good idea?
So it was I don't know, it was really interesting. It was the entire idea of commercializing space travel and making it user friendly, and so it was just a lot about some aerospace related things on how you can commercialize the aerospace industry through the idea of sending a dog to the moon. And
making it user friendly enough.
That's making it user friendly. That's what people
next gen of SpaceX.
Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
Yeah, Elon Musk is he's looking out.
He's got a Challenger.
He's got a Challenger. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Any other ones that we want to mention in particular?
So. One more that I'm gonna write here. I saw that you guys are very mathy. There was this person who wrote something about lotteries and looked at different combinations of. It was a bad idea of creating a lottery game to select 5 numbers from a range of 1 to 35, within a fixed gaming population of 1 million. So I saw one of the comments and someone was like, the odds of winning here would be 1 divided by 24 into 20, 25 into 24 into 23. Cool. I think that you can tell that there are people who are really interacting with their ideas. That's what we really like here at Launch. Even if it's a bad idea, hey, interact with it. truly, you can learn a lot from there.
Wait, if it was from
Lori's
1 to 30.
calculating.
No, but if 5 numbers from 1 to 30. Okay, yeah.
1 through 5. It's right. It's right. Lori's quickly fact checking.
Well, just needed to make sure.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I mean, that's kind of the lottery.
Yeah. That's yeah.
We recreated the lottery.
Yeah, you recreated it.
Yes.
So yeah.
All right. So any things in particular from the forum, or generally questions that have come up that we should be covering?
I've seen, so there's still a lot of confusion. Actually, I wanted to point out something interesting today. There's still like a lot of confusion with like due dates and stuff like that. So actually, Lori and I thought about, Lori thought about it. So Lori thought about putting together an FAQ list. And I think that, so we've been working on it. I think it'll be like a really good compact list on very usual questions we tend to get, like, when's the next lecture coming out? When are these assignments due? And when does the course close? And when's the latest time I can join? And all of these things, all of these logistical things. And I agree with you that we didn't put it in the beginning. So I can understand it might have been a bit confusing. In fact, I was confused for a while too. So so don't worry about it. We'll put together a nice FAQ list. We're still thinking about where to put it exactly, where to place it, so that you all have a very strong understanding of where to look for these questions. But other than that, I think there's been a really good improvement on the urgent issues and dispute grading bit. I know that some people have had some slight issues with some of their peer review assignments and stuff like that. That's also one more thing we're going to be talking about in the FAQs. Peer review assignments, some of you are a bit confused about how the process works, and we're going to be looking into that in greater depth.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as far as when assignments are due, I know that is something that has been a question a lot. So the first 2 weeks of materials, the starting the journey and ideation will be due August 1st.
Yes.
And then customers - market research and value proposition will be due August 15th.
Yes.
And then strategy and putting it all together will be due August 29th. And so those other 4 haven't come out yet. The customers one will be coming out tomorrow. But that's kind of the flow of everything, of when everything will be due. So of those, the main assignment that has came out in this week's materials, ideation. So there's 2 key components of that. A list of ideas that you have to submit. So I believe it's 10 ideas.
10 ideas.
That you have to submit, plus then a submission of up to 50 words of the idea that you've selected that you want to be working on throughout this course. And so for that, it's up to 50 words. And really what we want you to focus on is the problem that you're solving. So the need or gap, and ideally kind of phrasing it as the problem statement. So when we talk about problem statement, we ideally want to phrase it as how might we. So whether that be how might we bring education access to a third world country through technology, or how might we, and kind of fill in the blank there. And you can potentially then follow that up with some aspect of how you might initially think about doing that. But the most important part of it is that problem statement component. And really ensuring that you're filling a real need and gap. And we find that that's the most important part, because that helps lay the foundation for the rest of it. And that piece can even be restructured to be your mission statement. So then as different parts of your business are tested and adjusted, and you get market research feedback, and you start questioning whether or not any part of your business can be adjusted, you can still refer back to that mission and have that as your kind of guiding North Star to be able to, adjust within.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right, I'm just going to grab this to see. We need to bring up to see if we have any questions coming through the live stream, because that was so valuable last time when we were able to grab the live stream questions.
Yeah. Maybe this time's a tough time for you all. There are not many people online right now. There may not be too many questions.
How did I grab the link before for this?
Oh, I guess we have it here. Chat. Hey, someone send a smiley face. Cute.
Okay.
Yeah. So here are the Yeah.
Okay. So anyone who's on, feel free to send messages through.
Definitely. Yeah. Last time we had our past alum, Jacob Johnston. He spoke a bit about his company and how he had a lot of progress. And there were a lot of really, really good questions which came in, and he was able to answer them in a really nice manner. So if you guys have any questions about the material or anything in entrepreneurship in general, we'd love to answer them.
Absolutely.
So yeah, feel free to send us some stuff.
Great. And let's see here. So I'll just have a look then in the discussion forum, see what kind of like main questions have been coming through. Let's see. So the main questions that we have tended to get through there. So the course is for any aspiring entrepreneur. It doesn't just need to be high school. Materials come out on a weekly basis through the edX platform. You don't need to watch it at any specific time. The office hours like this will be at a specific time each week, but then you will be able to view them at any time. Those will be available through the YouTube channel. But then you'll only be able to ask the questions live when it's available live. Let's see here. Anything else in particular that is helpful to cover?
There's one more thing. We had a social media challenge recently, so I thought that's something really cool. We've gotten some really interesting entries. For those of you who don't know about the social media challenge, it's really straightforward. It's we basically want you guys to submit a picture, a nice professional picture, any presentable picture of yourself. And we want you to write a bit about the course and how it's impacted you, and whether how it's affected your understanding of entrepreneurship and all of these things. We've gotten some really, really heartwarming responses till now. There have been people from all over the world, really, from India and Pakistan and all these other countries who have been sending us in some pictures and some thoughts on our course, and it's been really great to see that some of you have really become a lot more confident after taking this course. You've realized a lot more about entrepreneurship that you didn't know before, and that really motivates us to continue what we're doing, because that's why we come in every day, so that we can impact the lives of all of you aspiring entrepreneurs. So one quick thing that I wanted to add, because I agree with Lori. I've seen this a lot. People do ask, is this only for young high school kids and stuff? Quick stat, the median age for people taking this course is actually 28. So we have people from all over the spectrum, all different age groups taking this course, and they're all equally active on the forum. And one more thing that I actually want to run by Lori, actually on live stream, was that some of them have had a really good question, which was, is there any nice way to link up with anyone else from the discussion forum? So we were thinking of creating a Facebook page with maybe we can work that out with time, so that you guys can talk with one another. I
think we talked about a Facebook group. I think that'd be a really great idea. People, and I think potentially also within the forum, maybe having some different subgroups where people could organize around similar interest areas.
Yes,
might be a good idea.
Yeah, that's also a good idea. I've actually seen a few Skype and WhatsApp groups that you have formed with good positive feedback there. So,
great.
So.
And let's see here. So I think we're having a few more people join, because I think we had put this on the MIT Launch instead of LaunchX YouTube, just as a heads up. So I think that was part of the
my fault.
Oh, no worries. We have so many different mediums here.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, people. Oh no.
No, yeah, it'll be we'll make sure to get the video posted to the MIT Launch.
Yes. Yeah.
So it'll be available. But at least for now, though, we've covered a lot of things that are within the week's materials, and some of the cool highlights from the week, some of the things that pertain to the week. And I think the main thing that I would want to emphasize about this week's materials is that while a lot of people really do emphasize, wanting to have that perfect idea, it really does come down to making sure that it's something that you're really excited and passionate about.
Definitely.
And when I say excited and passionate about it, it doesn't mean that you you need to feel like it's been your life's calling. So when I decided to work on launch, I never thought that I would get into education. and people are surprised to hear that, but I did engineering and business as my background, and I never saw myself being a teacher. But once I started talking about this idea with some friends, and it seemed like something that would be really exciting to me, like coming up with the curriculum behind it, and coming up with these frameworks and ideas for how things could work in entrepreneurship and business. And that part of it really excited me. And then the more I worked on it, the more things just kind of snowballed, and I became even more excited by it. So it's not that it needs to be something that is your life's calling when you come up with that idea, but it does need to be something that you're excited enough by the topic that you could feel invested in seeing that problem be solved. And that's what launch was for me. I didn't see myself as an educator since I was a young kid. And that's not what an idea needs to be for you. And that's something to keep in mind as you go through your ideas. And similarly, I mean, when I started Launch, there were a lot of other entrepreneurship education offerings out there, a lot for high school level. But I was able to find a niche out there and really differentiate my program. And actually, in a lot of ways, not having an education background was probably an advantage. So keep that in mind also as you develop something that entrepreneurs are resourceful. It's the pursuit of opportunity beyond resources controlled. And sometimes not having certain resources can be a huge advantage. Leverage what you do have, and understand that what you do have can be even more valuable at times. Anything else to add?
Maybe one final word. Just quickly reiterate what Lori said on solving a problem. We see this a lot of times. Sometimes counterintuitively, you feel as though your most passionate idea is the idea. I know everyone's always looking for the idea, the big, like you want to come up with Google in a day, or you want to come up with the next thing. And I feel as though, and we try really encouraging this at Launch, that even if you're really, really passionate about an idea, you need to make sure that you are solving a problem, that there is a gap in the market or a need, and you're actually addressing that. So I'm really happy with this week's materials and the positive reaction we've gotten on the discussion forums. I'm really, being your TA, I'm really happy that you guys are really enjoying this course so far. And yeah.
Yeah, and coming up with ideas, just like one more thing on that, it should be less about like what you think will be cool and what you think will work well. Oh my gosh, if there's one more business that people say is like Uber meets virtual reality with drones and Google, Facebook. Oh my gosh. It's more about solving the problem than pushing the idea. And actually, one thing that I also like to emphasize in the Launch Classroom, and that I know Bill Aulett talks about sometimes, which you'll meet in materials this week, is that people have this kind of confirmation bias when they've already started working a little bit on their idea.
Yes. Yeah.
So we call it the IKEA effect. So if you have something that you've already started working on and started building a little bit versus an existing commercialized offering, everybody else in the world is going to prefer that, chair that is commercially available, that is tried and true and tested, versus the one that you've built that, you see some value in, but nobody else is going to see some value in. You're really the only one that's going to see some value in that because you built it. And it's what we call the IKEA effect. And the best way to distance yourself from that effect, from kind of like pushing your idea on people and having them politely say, "Oh, that's nice," is to start with the problem first. And make sure you're solving a real problem versus just trying to mash together a bunch of really cool things and hope that works.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, so we've rambled for a bit now, and actually, let's see if there were any questions over. Are we in the?
Yeah, we're in the.
Oh, okay, still just a smile.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll make sure to post this over to the MIT Launch X YouTube.
Definitely.
Sorry about the 2 weeks in a row, a little bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Third time will be a charm.
Yeah, third time's the charm. At least we got video this time. We're getting better.
Little by little. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
All right. Thank you. Bye.